And there we have it. The DCEU has officially come to an end. Kind of a weird feeling. I remember Man of Steel coming out and then Warner Brothers putting out the big slate of films up till 2020, and what's happened since then, how most of those films either didn't come to fruition or ended up being disappointments. And Aquaman 2 sends off the DCEU with another underwhelming film. I remember enjoying the first Aquaman film when I watched it in cinemas, but I've yet to rewatch the film since it's come out in cinemas 5 years ago. So if I rewatched it, I might have a completely different perspective on it, because I remember that film embracing the cheesy nature of Aquaman and just going balls to the wall with itself and just having a fun blast. This film tries to do the same thing. It tries to be a fun adventure and just embrace its cheesy corniness, but it just didn't have the same fun effect as I remember the first one having. Call it sequelitis, maybe, just trying to emulate the same feeling of the first one, just not succeeding very well. Some of the execution and some of the dialogue kind of has that Saturday morning cartoon vibe to it, where it's just deliberately kind of hammy in that comic book aspect, and I can see people embracing that and enjoying that in that kind of way, which is completely fair enough. I understand that. I just didn't get on board with it. Not that it was an unbearable experience for the most part. There's this one segment where Aquaman and Orm go to this underwater hidden colony for pirates and weird fish, and they go talk to this aquatic CGI Jabba the Hutt kind of character. Yeah, I didn't enjoy that very much. And not all of the dialogue is unbearable, just bits and pieces. And it's funny, there's some dialogue bits where some of the actors, like Nicole Kidman and Dolph Lundgren, clearly don't have a clue what the hell they're talking about, but they're getting paid, so it's fine. And just generally speaking, the film is really generic, really by the numbers, and just full of concepts and ideas and plot points and characterization that we've just seen so many times before. How many times have we seen the lost kingdom and the lost nation that's been missing for centuries and just passed on to being myth and legend? How many times have we seen the army of just demonic creatures from hell? How many times have we seen the superhero having to team up with the bad guy from the last film to fight the new evil? And the majority of the film is built on their quarreling dynamic as they try to work together to fight this new evil because they're siblings and they bicker all the time. Definitely never seen that one before. It makes me question why it took them 5 years to make this film. I get the pandemic played a part in some of the delays and stuff, but still 4 or 5 years to come up with this film that's just full of all this stuff we've seen 1,000 times over. I don't know. Again, it's not an unbearable experience. There are a couple of little positives in there, like Jason Momoa. He's always had fun playing Aquaman, and you can tell he has fun playing it once again in this one. And actually, the chemistry between Jason Momoa and Patrick Wilson wasn't too bad. There are a couple of decent bits of dialogue between them here and there, and some decent little bits of comedy, and that's another thing as well. It's another attempt at doing a light-hearted, quirky, irreverent superhero film with lots of levity and comic relief, especially with Randall Park's character. And I just, yeah. I didn't have the highest hopes in the world for this film. Not that I was expecting high art or anything like that. It's an Aquaman film, for God's sake. I just wanted a fun superhero romp to send off the DCEU on some kind of positive note. And when the film cut to credits, I just kind of shrugged and thought, okay, there goes the DCEU, I guess. Aquaman 2 is consistent with the DCEU's infamous inconsistency. Does that make sense? And because of the said inconsistencies of the DCEU, I'm not particularly upset that it's come to an end, but I'm not going to be a douchebag and celebrate and throw parties over the fact that it's come to an end. I'm actually disappointed that the DCEU was a letdown of the cinematic universe, because I'd love to have another great superhero cinematic universe alongside Marvel. And that's where James Gunn comes in. We've got about 1.5 years until Superman Legacy comes out. Here's hoping that he can deliver us a good, solid, consistent DC cinematic universe in this second attempt. Rest in peace, DCEU.